Got it. Done and got it.
Alrighty, peaceful greetings, everybody. How are we doing on this lovely Sunday, this lovely soul day? We'd like to thank you all for joining another Seven Hill Star presentation. And this is AstroCivics Sunday. Woo! Yeah. So I am Brother Hasan Mail. You already know that all is well. And you all know sometimes it's GBIC Shine or what was that other one, bro? It started out originally with what was that, John?
Brave
Brave.
heart,
What? What?
brave heart. As always, that's always fun, man. How you
And
doing?
yeah, and I'm here with my bro and one of my good bro Jesus. What's good, Jesus?
It's all good, Jesus. You already know.
You
Peace
know,
of greet,
right?
peace and greetings to you all. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Islam, Islam, Islam. I am Brother Hasan Ghaziel Bey here in Morocco at Northwest of Mexico. How are you? Guys, welcome to AstroCivics Sunday. This is number 57, the Holy Koran Devotional for chapter 17. Right? Thank you for joining us. Alrighty. Particularly chapter 17, if I'm not mistaken, has 47 verses, or degree 17 has 47 minutes, right? Depends on where you are in your studies and being purposeful in speaking a specific way all the time, regardless of slang and connotation that people may want you to come down to earth and speak like normal people. But I think it'll be best to do your best to always speak at the height of your scholastic ability. That's I'll just say it like that, right? Going to share the screen, right? And we're going to do our invocation in here, all right? The Moorish Holy Temple of Science Administrative Functions, pages 48 and 49. Of course, 49 has our authority that I trust, sincere Moorish Americans do more in studying what it is so you can grasp the spirit that was put into it, the spirit behind it, so that we can be able to, do for our people without having the stress of thinking that we have to do something. What's the word? Have to do something like an employee, Title 5 United States Code, governmental organization employee. Because you shouldn't. You should not be out here trying to so-called quote unquote punch a clock to work for somebody else to make them do great just so you can have access to your ancestral estate. It's best for us to, make it easier for those that come after us to simply know that they need to read whatever the statutes, codes, and policies are to hold public servants to their obligation. However, also know their divine and national literatures so that they can keep themselves within the rightful and righteous bounds of equity, so to speak, right? So with that being said, guys, Brother Sean Lee Mel is going to take us in on our invocation in terms of Moorish American prayer. Alrighty. We're going to extend all 5 appendages on the left hand as the index and middle on the right. And we'll have our hands like this as we face east and stand on a 45-degree angle. As you see, Prophet Noble Drew Ali's feet are as he stands due guard. And his Moorish Sharif Fez and Abba handsomely standing due guard. And on page 48, we can recite, all right, our invocation in terms of Moorish American prayer, either out loud or in our hearts, as we repeat after Brother Sean Lee Mel. Islam.
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 Allah, the Father of the universe,
Allah, the Father of the universe,
the Father of love,
Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation,
and my salvation,
by night
by night
and by day.
and by day.
Through his holy prophet,
Through his holy prophet,
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Amen. Right.
Amen. Indeed, indeed. So the first letter to be read in every meeting is still in the Moorish Holy Temple of Science Administrative Functions, pages 84 and 85. Following is a letter written by Prophet Noble Drali on the 18th day of January, 1928, Anno Domini. He commanded that it be read before every meeting. Administrative Functions, Moor Science Temple of America, Home Office, 3603 Indiana Avenue, Noble Drew Ali, found in Chicago, Illinois, January 18th, 1929. To be proclaimed in every meeting, dear brother Islam, I'm glad to know that I have few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy, quote unquote, about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as an American citizen, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that contribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it bad. Never before have I needed finance as badly as I do at present, that I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my, quote, fame and nobility, end quote, period. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being the head. It has been proven by my work in which I have performed in the last few months. I was at the governor's inauguration to represent the Moorish Divine and National Movement, and I will be at the inauguration of President Hoover for the same cause, Noble, Drew, Ali. Going into the Moorish literature, excerpts from the Moorish Guide newspaper, we see there on page 12, handsomely standing due guard is Prophet Noble Drew Ali, again in his Moorish shirts, fez, and abah. And on page 13, we yield the floor to our beloved brother in whom we're well pleased, Brother Sean Ali Mel, Islam.
Islam. Divine warning by the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Prophet warns all Muslim governors, ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple of the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive the reward from Allah for the unjust deeds. Our true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement, founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet, through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways, by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Islam. Alrighty, guys, so we're jumping right into our Holy Koran Devotional. We're here at chapter 17, and I know in here I have a couple of my notes there, in crimson, of course, right? However, Brother Sean, as usual, he will read the minutes, of course, all 47 minutes for chapter, or for degree 17, right? All 47 verses for chapter 17. And I, as usual, will be, yeah, serious member type of ad-libbing as he reads. However, let me move this on up here. I guess if you guys wanted to see what type of notes I was taking when looking up certain words or terms, right? And really just getting the fruit out of what they are. All right. However, I yield the floor to our beloved brother in whom we please, Brother Sean Ali Mel, Islam.
Islam. All right, here we go. Chapter 17. Jesus, or the I in man, or mind, the I am identity, appears, fully materialized before Apollo, the god of light who resided in the sun. He was the healer, the purifier, the bane of evil, right? And the silent brotherhood, who was established thought and high spiritual consciousness in Greece. Appears to Claudia and Juliet on the Tiber near Rome. Appears to be the priest, appears to the priest in the Egyptian temple at Heliopolis. All right, 1. Apollo, with the silent brotherhood of Greece, was sitting in a Delphian grove. The oracle had spoken loud and long. The priests were in the sanctuary, and as they looked, the oracle became a blaze of light. It seemed to be on fire and all consumed. The priests were filled with fear. They said, "A great disaster is to come. Our guards are mad. They have destroyed our oracle."
It's amazing. The first thing their minds went to was something negative. Go ahead, I yield.
But when the flames had spent themselves, a man stood on the oracle's pedestal and said, Jesus' voice, "Allah speaks to man, not by an oracle of wood and gold, but by the voice of man."
Indeed.
The gods have spoken to the Greeks in kindred tongues through images made by man, but Allah, the One, now speaks to man through Jesus, the only Son, who was and is and evermore will be.
Jesus, the I am identity. So to call upon, because God denotes a verb, not a noun. So God is an action. God, to invoke, to call upon, speaks through the I am identity, speaks through Jesus. So again, these are lessons in seeing that this is all taking place within you. All righty. This is about, your consciousness connected to your endocrine system and being very wise with exercising your will all knowingly, intentionally, using the all-in-one power within yourself, rightfully using ye will. And that's what I see being said with what Brother Sean just read from literature divinely prepared by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Again, prepared does not mean that he's the author of what we're reading. He was able to compile different things for Hermetic studies so that we ourselves will have a mindset that studies and reads and then asks questions intelligently to those anywhere that may assume or say that they are some kind of authority. And that way we're able to question them honorably by having a mindset that is used to doing its own investigative studies. With that, I yield the floor, Islam.
Islam. This oracle shall fail. The living oracle of Allah, the One, will not fail.
Islam.
Apollo knew the man who spoke. He knew it was a Nazarene who once had taught the wise men the Acropolis and had rebuked the idol worshippers upon the Athens beach.
So somebody was familiar. Right? And again, hold on, Apollo, right? Since I did have a note here, but this is just so that this encourages you all to do the same. The God of light, the call upon pertaining to light, who resided in the sun, right? Interesting. Back to astrology. He was the healer, the purifier, the bane pertaining to evil, which means, evil didn't like him, because bane is awe. Boon is yay, just to make sure we got that. Since light and heat are not always beneficial, he was also the sender of pestilence and destruction when you check out who Apollo was. But think about this being something that is pertaining to your consciousness tied to your endocrine system. Sunlight without water will burn up crops and bring pestilence. The thought of destruction, quote unquote, is taken from this latter phase of Apollo's nature. So just think of those things as Brother Sean is basically going in right here, right, about Apollo. You know what I mean? I'm just saying like anything about what Apollo said or whatever, well, Apollo knew. So this kind of consciousness knows who spoke. You know, this consciousness is familiar with the I am identities calling. All right, I yield. And it's funny, you should look up Nazarene also in your metaphysical Bible dictionaries also. But go ahead, I yield.
And in a moment, Jesus stood before Apollo and the silent brotherhood and said, "Behold, for I have risen from the dead with gifts for men. I bring to you the title of your vast estate."
Look at that. I bring to you the title of your vast estate. Look at that. So for those people that are digging into all this stuff about estate law, contract law, all these things, this is why those of you all that are saying you're Moorish American, claim to be Moorish American, but however, maybe giving yourselves an excuse about the amount of activity that you're doing because of where you're going to say, well, I'm not at that part of it, or I'm doing things as, being a Moorish American this way. And it's like, okay, cool. However, there are those of us who are really looking at the connection with what we are seeing, metaphysically speaking, from the different metaphysical books that we're looking at, from our astrological studies, and then when we're looking at jurisprudence and equity, so to speak. Jurisprudence, the science which treats of positive law. That's what we've always been introduced to, being Moorish American, which means we're introduced to equity immediately. So now to make the connection between equity astrology and what we're seeing in the metaphysics so that we can see the oneness of it all, because it should never been broken up in the first place. However, what we're doing is we're seeing where these things are mended and actually fit into one another so that we can be able to have different things, shelter, clothing, food, based off of activating the obligations pertaining to these public trustees sitting public office as public officials, public servants. And it's really that simple. That is it. That is all. It's not complicated. It is not a package to sell you or a process to sell you. It is a mindset, and then you can have it documented according to those of us who also got it documented certain ways as we thought. For me, my documentation went through after I studied, being a part of Moor's Heritage and History School via rvbaypublications.com, reading the instructions, attending the classes, seeing how to make it work for myself with what was provided. And what I saw is a means to have the mindset to be able to communicate this to our immediate Moorish community, as well as those beings that may not be declared and proclaimed Moorish Americans. They may just be Moorish subjects and may not be even privy to that knowledge or information if they haven't seen certain documentation pertaining to such. However, those of us that do know are to be able to share this information confidently, intelligently, and competently, so that we are able to have what is needed within our Moorish community, and then for others also across the planet. That's really what we are to do, to help Prophet Noble Drew Ali in his mission to bring our people back into the constitutional fold of government without people taking it as if this is following some weird religion with weird beliefs or something. It really, religion is mentioned. However, this is absolutely 153%, at least 153% civics, and civics alone. And by doing so, one gets to really experience religion, which is realigning to the mindset pertaining to your ancient foremothers and forefathers so that your days are long upon the earth land. Islam?
All power in heaven and earth is mine. To you, I give all power in earth and heaven and earth.
Look at that. Heaven, higher self. Earth is your heart. Right? Just to put that out there. Islam, everyone, says Brother Derek Blash Bay. Islam, says Mother Janelle Blash Allen. Loving Heart Creations had said something, but they retracted their statement. Brother Tyro Bay says peace and love, everyone. Indeed, bro. And I yield. Islam.
Go forth and teach the nations of the earth the gospel of the resurrection of the dead. and of the eternal life through Jesus, the love of Allah made manifest to men. And then he clasped Apollo's hand and said, my human flesh was changed to higher form by love divine, and I can manifest in flesh or in the higher planes of life at will.
At will. At will. Again, this is about your own consciousness tied to your endocrine system and knowing how to properly use ye will. It really is that. Like when you read books or maybe listen to the audio book autobiography of a yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, and you hear about like Larry Masha or Lahiri Masha and the other like ascended masters and how they are able to go in and out of material flesh or be able to project themselves somewhere else on the planet to communicate with someone. A lot of these things have been turned into like imaginary events that could possibly take place, in real life, but definitely takes place in fiction. No, these are things that can be attained provided we really exercise a certain mindset within ourselves first. Got to be a consistency in the mindset, which will lead to more of manifesting what's being spoken about. But again, it says there in 13, at will. So there's things at will that can be done because that's what we're here to be masters with. Use our will effectively, wholeheartedly knowing. Starting out with wholehearted belief, however, knowing pertaining to what you're willing to manifest and bring forth. And again, this is about real religion, going back to the mindset of the ancient foremothers and forefathers so that ye days along upon the earthland. I yield, Islam.
What I can do, all men can do. Go teach the gospel of the omnipotence of man.
Islam. Word. There's nothing else I can say behind that except word. Go ahead, I yield.
Then Jesus disappeared, but Greece and Crete and all the nations heard. Claudius and Juliet, his wife, lived on the Palatine in Rome, and they were servants of Tiberius, but they had been in Galilee.
Man, that's some. You look up what Claudius means, Juliet means, what Palatine means, what Rome is, what Tiberius is, and what Galilee is. You'll guys see a message unfold. Because again, you'll see how this is tied to your own consciousness in harmony with the endocrine system. And these things will not seem like mystery books when appropriately comprehending the metaphysics by just looking up what these names and places, these names of so-called beings, of characters, the appellations of the characters, as well as the so-called places, and then see what they actually mean. What is their denotation? What's their origin and meaning, so to speak? And it shall turn into a beautiful metaphysical journey within. I yield the floor, bro. Islam.
Had walked with Jesus by the sea, had heard his words and seen his power, and they believed that he was Jesus made manifest. Now Claudius and his wife were on the Tiber in a little boat. A storm swept from the sea. The boat was wrecked, and Claudius and his wife were sinking down to death. And Jesus came up and took them by the hands and said, Claudius and Juliet, arise and walk with me upon the waves. And they arose.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I yield.
And they arose and walked with him upon the waves. 1,000 people saw 3 walk on the waves and saw them reach the land, and they were all amazed. And Jesus said, you men of Rome, I am the resurrection and the life. They are that dead shall live, and many that shall live will never die. By mouth of God. Oh, go ahead, bro.
So this is just like in my head, I'm thinking like when people go to handle someone bringing a claim against them using statutes, and then equity is immediately and righteously invoked, then that third one walking on the waters being above the Diluvian principled maritime law, since it's dealing with water, right? The law of the sea. So they're trying to drown beings with statutory cover up. And then when equity is invoked, it is the intercessor on one's behalf, like the justice, the Masonic code word of Jesus justice, does for those that are not going to be drowned in statutory at law maritime / admiralty, if you want to look at it like that, type of energy. Very diluvian, very flood-like, wanting to flood people's life energy below the waters, where equity has one walking hand in hand with justice, right? The I am identity, Jesus, and making it to land, using equity to bring one to the land. I yield.
By mouth of gods and demigods, Allah has spoken to your fathers long ago, but now he speaks to you through perfect man.
Which means, again, all these things that have been done, all men can do. Right? 14, what I can do, all men can do. Go teach the gospel pertaining to the omnipotence pertaining to man, which means we all can do this. We are actually here to be taught and reminded about our immortality. Just people have been bombarded with so much computer graphically generated Hollywood audio visual presentations that taking it seriously of developing one's mind to these high levels may seem imaginary and far-fetched. I yield though, bro. Islam.
He sent his son Jesus in human flesh to save the world. And as I lifted from the watery, rave and save these servants of Tiberius. So Jesus will lift the sons and daughters of the human race, yeah, every one of them, from darkness and from graves of carnal things to light and everlasting life. I am the manifest of love raised from the dead. Behold my hands, my feet, my side, which carnal men have pierced.
Wow.
Claudius and Juliet, whom I have saved from death, are my ambassadors to Rome. And they will point the way and preach the gospel of the holy breath and the resurrection of the dead.
Holy breath, yogic studies, prana, science of breath, holy breath, right? So that one can resurrect. That's why you're to inhale through your nose, exhale out your mouth. Right? Maybe you want to read The Yoga of Jesus. That's another book. Start bringing these things together to get out of the context of how people have been socially engineered with a building called a church with, some instruments and people singing. That was supposed to have been the extracurriculars to after people were able to see that by holy breath, they can bring themselves from out of the materialistic world that is the dead world. Not like, ooh, spooky, you got to look down and go, oh, no, the dead world is just concerned about material and sense consciousness. When the mission is to come here and learn how to evolve it. Even though you go through multiple, returns onto this planet, through many different women's stargates as you come through to go through each part of the zodiac to get your lesson so that you can grow to the next levels. I yield, bro. 29.
And that was all he said. But Rome and all of Italy heard. The priests of Heliopolis were in their temple, met to celebrate the resurrection of their brother Nazarite. They knew that he had risen from the dead. The Nazarite appeared and stood upon a sacred pedestal on which no man had ever stood. This was an honor that had been reserved for him who first would demonstrate the resurrection of the dead. And 5. And Jesus was the first of all the human race to demonstrate the resurrection of the dead.
And again, that is the I am identity pertaining to your consciousness connected to your endocrine system is what is resurrecting one. That's what's going to resurrect y'all out there, is knowing the I am identity. Seeing that divinity within yourself and then being that divinity. It is nothing, and I repeat, there is nothing outside of you that's going to grant you that. I yield.
When Jesus stood upon the sacred pedestal, the master stood and said, "All hail." The great bells of the temple rang, and all the temple was ablaze with light.
Wow. Peace and greetings to all, says Mother Sahar. Islam, Mother Sahar. Peace and greetings to you. Go ahead, I yield, bro.
And Jesus said, "All honor to the masters of this temple of the sun." In flesh of man, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. This essence, quickened by the holy breath, will raise the substance of the body to a higher tone.
Will raise the substance of the body to a higher tone. That's a frequency increase. All righty. Through holy breath. I want us to make sure we're in different other breathing exercises that one can take, charge of doing to be able to raise the substance pertaining to the body to a higher tone so that one can also unlock being able to, at will, manifest anywhere out of flames and then disappear. All why? Because one is knowing the practice pertaining to holy breath. This isn't far-fetched. This isn't imaginary. This is the goal. This is the goal. After belief comes faith. After faith comes fruition. So technically, what I trust I'm doing is giving a clear perspective about what we're seeing about the I am identity within us all that has been anthropomorphically presented as Jesus, the Son of God. The I am identity, new thought pertaining to call upon. That's what Jesus, the Son of God, is. Jesus, I am identity. The Son, the new thoughts, the new or the freshly sprang up thoughts. That's the Son. So the freshly sprang up thought, God to call upon. The I am freshly sprung up thought to call upon Jesus, the Son of God. I trust we're taking notes. I yield, Islam.
And make it like the substance of the bodies of the planes above, which human eyes cannot behold. There is a holy ministry in death. Chapter 4. The essence of the body cannot be quickened by the holy breath until the fixed is solved. The body must disintegrate, and this is death. And then upon these pliant substances Allah breathes, just as he breathed upon the chaos of the deep when worlds are formed. And life springs forth from death. The carnal form is changed to form divine.
Look at that. Look at that. So the breathing was done to increase or augment the frequency pertaining to the body so it can, be raised to a higher tone. And even after the disintegration portion, being able to still lock in. However, if we take that from the physical and put it in the metaphysical, what we'll see happen and change is the way that we think about things that we're interacting with and what we read, especially when it comes to those that may seek to use statutes and charges and make complaints or whatever to try to bring you into some type of courtroom situation that is nothing but an administrative meeting where equity must be invoked intelligently and honorably, because that is equity, must be invoked so one is not held to statutory obligation because one is not an application filing, oath of office taking, contracting being. I yield, bro, Islam.
Islam. The will of man makes possible the action of the holy breath. When will of man and will of Allah are one, the resurrection is a fact.
Look at that. The will, again, will. I'm speaking about, Hittian faith, right? Because this is what this is about. Bring the people back to practicing the Hittian mindset. Rightfully using the will. Appropriately using the will. One misusing their will not. So we're not misusing the will. So therefore, misuse your will not. All right. I yield, bro. Islam.
Islam. In this, we have the chemistry of mortal life, the ministry of death, the mystery of deific life. Yeah. My human life was wholly given to bring my will to tune with the deific will. When this was done, my earth tasks were done. And you, my brother, know full well the foes I had to meet. You know about my victories in Gethsemane, my trials in the courts of men, my death upon the cross.
Man, that one you just read before that one, and then look, you just brought up the trials of court. But again, will, bringing one's will to the tune. Back to tuning again. Tuning, toning, back to it again. Sounds very melodic. Sounds very musical. But to bring one's will to the tune with the deific will. This is why we're here. Period. This is why we're here. And Brother Sean read, you, my brother, know full well the foes one had to meet. You know about one's victories in Gethsemane and the trials in the courts of men. And death upon the cross, right? So, in other words, dying to the material mindset, which is Egyptian, and allowing one to have the spiritual consciousness, which is termed Israelite consciousness. That is not promoting a group of people that call themselves that. I am being denotative with what these words actually denote, metaphysically speaking, within my mind, rightfully using my will to have the all-in-one power instead of breaking them up into threes: metaphysics, astrology, cosmology, civics. We're going to put them all together, and that's just consciousness, period. Right consciousness. We don't have to compartmentalize and break a bowl up into 3 different pieces and then call each piece one metaphysics, the other one astrology, cosmology, and then the third one civics. Now, if we put them all together, then we are dying to a material mindset that really doesn't benefit us. And it begins to quicken us towards that deific life. I yield the floor.
You know that all my life was one great reality show, one great drama for the sons of men, a pattern for the sons of men. I lived to show the possibilities of man.
Look at that. Look again. Look at that. Hey man, I did this. You can do it too. Like, I mean, it's very simple and plain, especially when you love yourself and you go to meet Prophet Noble Drew Ali in his literature. Even if the literature that we're meeting him in has been divinely prepared, which means there's a spirit that he was in that made him think, you know, this will be helpful even after I'm gone. So we're meeting that spirit. I yield the floor, Islam.
What I have done, all men can do, and what I am, all men shall be.
Again, he said that 14 and 46. He said it in 14. What I can do, all men can do. Go teach the gospel of the omnipotence of man, right? And then in 46, what I have done, all men can do. What I am, all minds shall be. I don't think that's difficult, honestly. I don't think that's difficult at all. But any hoosers, I yield the floor, bro. Islam.
The masters looked. The form upon the sacred pedestal had gone, but every temple priest and every living creature said, "Praise Allah."
Look at that.
They said they got the man and the creatures saying it. Well, I ain't gotta quit playing with the I am identity.
And this is what we're to do. Yeah, this is what we're to do. These things are not hard. I know that there's this obstacle in the middle. The obstacle is, oh man, we need food, clothing, and shelter, man. So I gotta punch this clock. I gotta work because I gotta have these things because people are not going to see what we talking about or what y'all sharing on YouTube. You know, it seems ideal, but who's actually living that way? Who's actually going to make this happen? This is the thing. We're to do this, period. However, that's why I said after this Holy Koran Devotional, you know, 7 Hill Star is going to do what needs to be done. And just let's go into these documents. Let's go and start sending these correspondences out on a larger scale than we're sending them out now. Right? I think what we're doing here in terms of, you know, our own free national press to assist in shoveling ourselves from up under the avalanche of lies heaped upon us annually, if not daily. Because, of course, you have so many people out here who want to speak negatively about Prophet Noble Drew Ali, speak negatively about Moorish Americans, Moors, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, adopting as its corporate name Moorish Science Temple of America. No, I'm not saying Moorish Science Temple of America, comma, INC, period. I am way too mature to have to battle people who should have been really seeking to tune their will with deific will. And I get it. There's only some of us who are meant to actually tune our will to deific will within this lifetime. Everybody's not going to make it. Cool, fine, no worries. There's got to be a reason that brothers such as us at Seven Hill Star come across this type of information, have these kinds of experiences that we have, share the Quran how we're sharing. It's got to be a reason. And it's not to just sit on our laurels. Questions, comments, and or suggestions going once. Mother Sahar says, indeed. Right? So I trust this gets easier and easier. I know we're getting closer to the end, which is the beginning, which is the countdown, right? And I trust that even when you guys go back and see these presentations that we've done right now, this is video number 441 that we have on Seven Hill Star. We've been able to provide in under 6 years or so through this particular channel, if not 7 years. Even though a huge chunk of these videos, about 300 of these videos, happened within the last year and a half. Had to. If you do 4 videos on YouTube every 7 days, what's 4 times 52? That's a year worth of videos. Is that not 208?
Indeed.
We're not playing. we are not playing. So I think, yeah, in about a year and a half, we did 312 videos.
Yes.
So we're not playing. You don't see us coming up, people like, oh, they some scammers, they sold me some paperwork, their process ain't work. We've never been like that. We've always been, okay, you want a concept correction session? Cool, you can schedule a session. We can assist with, approach and thinking when this happens. But at the end of the day, the only one that's going to be able to rectify the situation or be able to do what they need to do is yourself in bringing forth the equity, right? Since that's a popular buzzword right now, right? Indeed, Mother Sahar 208. Correct. So I know we've done over this last year and a half alone, 312 videos straight. And we still got to get, we come to chapter 16 next Sunday. 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have 16 more Sundays to go. So just add 16 on top of the 441 videos we have now. That's 500. That's 457 videos we'll have. Just off those 16 more Sundays. That's not including, because that's 16. So now take the other 3 days that we're on and multiply that by 16. That's 48. So now 48 plus 16, right, should get you 64, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we get to the 16th Sunday, man, we're gonna be at like video 453 by that time, working our way up to 457 videos. Like, we really got to think about what I'm saying we're doing here. Like, we're not playing. no one's making videos at the frequency that we're making them, with the comprehension that we're making them, with Prophet Noble Drew Ali at the forefront pertaining to our minds. No one's being graced in the entire universe to do that. There's got to be a reason why Seven Hill Star is doing it. That's why our minds got to be solid so that we can tune our will to deific will continually. Brother Derek Blash Bay says there is a calling on our lives to know and share this to our family and children. You are correct. Indeed, beloved brother. Indeed. Well, I'm to do the invocation out. Questions, comments, and or suggestions going twice. I'll take what Brother Derek said there was a question, comment, and or suggestion going twice. Guys, join us next day, Monday, for Intuition Monday. Brother Sean, what are we going in on this Intuition Monday? I didn't check before we got started.
Maybe. Oh, I think it should be the Geminian full moon. Yeah.
The Geminian full moon.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
then
next Monday is Zoe Kravitz.
Yep. Then we're going in on Zoe Kravitz. Indeed. Absolute Timon. Yep. Geminian new moon, right? Because next day is the 20th. So for the 20th November 2023, we're going in on the Geminian new moon. Well, it's supposed to be full moon, I'm sure.
Correct,
that's what it is, right? Because the sun will be in Sagittarius and the moon will be in Gemini. So the Geminian full moon, let me say that, Geminian full moon for the 20th November 2023's presentation for Intuition Monday. So we'll see you all next day. All righty. However, we're going to do our invocation out. Everyone extend 5 appendages on your left hand, index and middle on your right hand. We're going to face east while we hold our hands this way and stand on a 45-degree angle with our feet. And you can repeat after me either aloud or in your hearts. Islam. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Amen. Indeed, guys. If you ate good, that's great. If you need to, go and eat great, man. Go and do yourselves a favor and go and get you victuals. All righty. Everyone else, thank you all so much for joining us. Share this out with your loved ones. Remember, go to 7hillstar.com and tell your loved ones, go to 7hillstar.com. Sign up for our email list. You can get that email that comes out every Thursday. And we're sending out Saturday emails, I guess, as a reminder. If not Friday, Saturday emails. And like, hey, look, we're having our astrology discussion on Saturday, right? With that being said, no more questions, comments, and or suggestions, guys. We love you all. This is where I, Brother Hasan Ghaziel Bey, and Brother Sean Mel, on behalf of 7 Hill Star, Brother Terrell Tamari Bey, Brother Corey Bey, Brother Malaba Bey, we say to ye all, rest and recharge well when you go to rest and recharge. Namaste, namaste, namaste. We love you all. Islam, y'all. Peace and love.